僕の血を飲みたい。さっきからわざと誤解を招くような言い方をしているな。
Some people get excited for good anime. I get excited knowing how many doujins are gonna be written about it. She wants to suck you, and he wants to suck you, and she wants to suck you, and she especially wants to suck. Anyways, I watched the Case Study of Vanitas, and this is gonna sound really stupid if you're a regular viewer, but Vanitas does not have nearly enough titties. To show you what I mean, let's talk about how Vanitas uses goofiness and titties to balance out and make the serious moments all the more serious. The first thing you'll notice is that every character is an idiot. Every character is a goddamn idiot. Classic. Now, this isn't by any means a new type of storytelling, but it is a good one. And Vanitas almost perfectly balances the goofy shit with the darker, serious side of the story. Done right, this makes the dark tone shift even more jarring and dramatic and really stand out as something uncomfortable. In simplest terms, it looks like this.
これ、ノエさん宛てです。
Setup, surprise, and payoff, like a joke, except with murder. So let me talk about my favorite episode, episode 11, because it is all kinds of fucking stupid. John decides she hates Vanitas and wants to get him to hate her. The only thing she knows about Vanitas is that he only likes women that play hard to get. So her genius plan is to invite him on a date and confess to him, thus driving him away and out of her life forever. So right away, two things happen. 1, she actually starts to like him a bit. 2, he sees through this right away. So when she starts to show feelings for him, this is good because she doesn't like him, but it would be a problem if she did, which she totally doesn't. Or does she? And he keeps leading her around town, letting her go on this stupid charade, and then leaves to let her practice confessing to him, which will make him hate her, which she wants, except no wait, she doesn't, or does she? And then he overhears her confessing and takes it, which is really, really bad for her, but also good for her, but also bad. What really sells this is the two characters that have been following them the entire time and going on and on about how fucking stupid this all is. This is like Shakespeare levels of ironic fuckery. So then, among all this absolute insanity, there's this moment where Noe gets attacked in the cafe, and it's a wild tone shift, but because of just how silly the rest of the episode is, it gets to be a lot darker and more serious than it otherwise would be. Remember, setup, surprise, payoff. It's the exact same concept, only on an episode-wide scale. The start of part 2 does this really well again, as it sets up with a bunch of buffoons wandering around and getting lost in the snow, and Noe literally just walks into a fucking tree for no reason. See, as all the idiots are bickering with each other, it cuts to Noe wandering off to chase his hat, like, psych! It wasn't for no reason, his hat had to come off, bet you didn't see that coming, idiot. And all of a sudden, it's quiet as Noe is alone, and it's eerie. And then it cuts back to the bickering for just a split second before going back to Noe again as it's suddenly snowy. Wait, where did the snow come from? What's going on, you buffoons? And it slowly adds more and more layers as they bicker on. And it's this incongruity between the eeriness and the bickering that gives the scene a real sense of unease as it gradually reveals the huge beast. This works so well, and it seems like this where Vanitas is at its absolute best. So what exactly is wrong with Vanitas? Well, not that I'd call it anything less than great, but remember how I said it almost perfectly balances the goofy shit with the darker, more serious story? Well, for every scene like this, there's another one where it just falls flat as you wonder why it's trying to be so serious when it really should not be. Like, after introducing the beast, it introduces Astolfo, and for some reason it gets more serious instead of less. See, where it falters is trying to err on the side of seriousness, when the story really wants it to err on goofiness. Astolfo is this crazy motherfucker who just killed 3 people because they thought he was a girl. Like, that's actually insane. And it just plays it 200% serious. I'm sorry, we're not gonna get any more real than this big spooky beast vampire monster it dropped on us, so anything less is just going to fall flat, especially with a character like Astolfo, who is just so unrealistically edgy that it's just weird. And I think this is at its worst with Moreau the Doctor. It's like they tried to make him both edgy and ridiculous at the same time, as if he's supposed to be so goofy that it's scary. But again, it's just weird, and he just comes out as this very generic, hyper-cartoonish evil villain. This is the same problem I had with the Jim Carrey's The Mask character in ReZero. It's just so absolutely cartoonish that it's not scary or funny. It's just weird. Whereas if they just leaned into this and made him intentionally impossible to take seriously, he could actually be quite compelling and even spooky. Instead, he's honestly super dumb. You might be like, well, that's stupid. Then he'd just be funny. Remember that literally every character in this story is a fucking moron. And yet somehow we're able to take them all seriously. I mean, this is basically exactly what Roland is. He pretends to be this obscenely stupid buffoon, except he kinda is, but what? Trapped, and it works. I won't say he's the greatest villain ever, especially since he basically immediately turns into an ally in yet another very idiotic scene.
そんな理由で来てたなら最初に言ってくれればよかったのに。
But it works a million times better than Moreau's character ever does. Other times, they're just trying to play it perfectly serious, and it kills the very tone shift that it's trying to create. When they're discussing the legend of the beast, suddenly the room is lit up by this eerie green light as if they're telling a ghost story, and like, I guess they are, narrative-wise, but there's no real reason for this to be going on. And then Noe is like, it sounds delicious, and they're like, wow, that's kinky. And I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to laugh here, because then it goes to Noe wanting to suck Vanitas off, and then it goes all 2001 Space Odyssey, and it's like, why? But also, what? But the problem here is that the seriousness literally doesn't go away, so when it finally cuts all the music and everything and Vanitas says,
お前がもし俺の血を吸い記憶を覗き込もうとするなら殺す
which is the big payoff for this entire bit, it just gets lost in all the bullshit surrounding it, which is a shame because this is such a great fucking line. You might be like, weren't you just praising it for this exact same thing in the scene with the Beast? Yes, I was, but the difference is the Beast is a character that needs build-up and exaggeration, so the slow shift between goofy and eerie only serves to better the scene. Here, Vanitas' line needs to be jarring and sudden, so all this waddling around in the gray area between goofy and serious just muddies the tone shift that's about to happen. It's like the opposite of the normal anime problem where they just have to add some titties in there, except here it's like, ooh, we need to make it dark and spooky and serious, and it's almost so serious that it's goofy, but not quite, and this scene mostly just falls flat. Not quite, because Vanitas' line and the delivery is really just that good, but it really would have been so much better if this scene was only goofy. Before we wrap up, I just want to quickly address why we're talking about this, because Vanitas is one of those stories where it felt like it wanted to say something, but the entire time I was watching it, it wasn't totally clear to me what it wanted to say. But I think it's about learning to open up and rely on others. Vanitas always keeps to himself, and despite dragging Noe along, it's for a matter of convenience rather than anything, and it's only at the end that he really accepts the value of friendship, saying that if anyone kills him, it should be Noe, after Noe tells Vanitas he won't kill him, at which point he realizes he can't kill Noe either. Now, what makes this great is this is the exact same attitude he has towards women, so, BL anyone? Roland blindly followed the church's doctrine until Noe and Vanitas made him realize that friendship between human and vampires is possible. Domi blames herself for her brother's death and feels the need to be him, and only towards the end discovers that it's okay for others to love her for who she is. John is very cold and distant, and it's only when pretending to be someone who can fall in love that she's able to for real. And of course, the other side characters are half vampire and half human, and so are a literal symbol of the friendship between humans and vampires. And I think maybe the reason it was so hard to pin this theme down is because it's told from the point of view of Noe, who is so affable the entire time. He's the one that inspires this change in all the other characters, and yet he's kind of a secondary character to Vanitas. And so for him, this journey is about friendship and helping everyone achieve it. And because this story is always walking the line between friendship and loneliness, I think this storytelling works really, really well. It's about opening up to your own feelings, so this accentuation of highs and lows between the goofs and the gags and the serious bits really helps crisscross back and forth over this line. It's a thoughtful story in a lot of ways. It's a shame that the writing isn't as good as it is in its best moments for the entire story, because it kind of feels a lot of the time like instead of the need to throw in anime titties to make sure it sells well, it feels the need to be edgy and broody. And while this isn't nearly as big an offense as the other way around, it is a little jarring to realize that anime titties are what a story needs more of, because honestly, what the fuck? If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out last week's video on the themes of compassion and kindness in Ranking of Kings. Also, last thing, please step on the like button and stay tuned for next week's video, which is going to be a roundup review of every anime I watched in winter 2022, even the shitty ones. You'll notice the videos on my channel are almost never reviews because I think discussions on the literary and artistic merits of anime as art are a lot more valuable. But if you're the kind of weeb who actually cares about my opinions, be sure to tune in for this one. 5 points to Weebador if you can guess what my pick for anime of the season is. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, friends, and I will see you in the next video.